two things I want to say. First of all, about trading players away. When Larry Brown did coach the Knicks, I disagreed with that trade to get Trevor, to get rid of Trevor Ariza. And you know what? That guy actually developed, and he could have been a decent role player on the Knicks, and he did average, I think, 15 for the this year he played for Houston.
Oh.
But going back, you brought up a guy, Jerry Sloan. I want to say something about Jerry Sloan and player coaches. Jerry Sloan has been with that team forever, probably before we've all been born.
Utah Jazz.
Yes,
Yeah.
with the Jazz.
Over 20 years, I think now.
Jerry Sloan, Coach Stockton, Coach Malone, Jeff Hornacek, that whole team had some terrible years after that. And then now with Deron Williams, Carlos Boozer, the team, Mehmet Okur, the team that they currently have now, brought them into a winning team. Jerry Sloan actually went through a whole transition of different teams, but different style of players, because the 90s is a lot different than what it is now. Jerry Sloan, he's an older guy, old school mentality, but he took the initiative to adapt to the new NBA.
Larry Brown would have ran for the hills.
Larry Brown would have said, forget this.
Mid 2000s, while Stockton and Malone's career, Larry Brown would have been out of town.
Yeah. Oh, that's going to ruin my career. This and that.
Larry Brown has never stuck. Larry Brown will enter your beginning of your team's rebuild, and it'll come towards the back end of a rebuild. Now trying to make its push into the playoffs. I've never seen Larry Brown make both transitions. Take the Detroit Pistons as they were, and then after that transition of what the Pistons were after 2005, 2006, he wasn't going to stick around.
No. They were in the conference finals, and he was already looking for new jobs. And also, people fail to remember this, that the year before Larry Brown came to the Pistons, Rick Carlisle was the coach, and they had a 51-31 record that year before Larry Brown came in. They fired Carlisle to get Larry Brown to come in there. Granted, they won a championship, but also what helped contribute to that championship was getting Rasheed Wallace. But people fail to remember that Rick Carlisle was the one that kind of initiated by putting that team together with Hamilton, Ben Wallace,
Chauncey
Billups, and Tayshaun Prince.
Right.
Then adding Wallace the other year, Rasheed Wallace, was kind of like the icing on the cake.
Right. But the current situation with Larry Brown, he's in Charlotte. He's the head coach of Charlotte. They made the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does he retire? He says in the clip that we heard, it's up to his wife, whatever. But at the end of the day, where is he going to end up next season? If he does come back, does he stay in Charlotte, or all these talks surface that he's going to take the Sixers GM position?
Well, he should stay in Charlotte. I mean, you're 41-41 this year. You got a good young team. You got guys who are complete outcasts years ago. Guys like Steven Jackson.
Willie, he should, but Willie stay?
Probably not. I would say probably not.
So is he coaching somewhere next year, or is he retire next year?
I don't know. I'll put it to you this way: if he coaches somewhere else next year,
oh yeah, well the hatred
forget
level
about
is
forget it. It's going to go through the roof.
I think Jordan will see that Jordan's going to have to make a decision. Now, Jordan is the first NBA player to have majority ownership of a team, right? Now he's going to see what Larry Brown's cancer does to an organization. Right. He got this team now into the playoffs. He got players on Charlotte believing in Larry Brown's system. Now, does Larry Brown bail on them and go to Philly, go to wherever he's being offered, or does he actually do something and progress his team? Right. Does Larry Brown even surprise us and take Charlotte into the next level with himself and not leave it to another coach?
Well, they have the players already. They just need maybe one or two couple of key guys to add to that team. But when you have Steven Jackson, who was a head case 3-4 years ago, playing probably what I've seen some of the best basketball of his career, you have Gerald Wallace, who was third or fourth in the league in rebounds, and we're talking about a 6'7" guy. You know what? They have a good young nucleus. One or two key players away from maybe taking it to the next level.
And we'll see what happens with the Larry Brown situation as it progresses. But right now, we got the player awards to talk about. All the player awards handed out during the playoffs. We'll start with the Sixth Man of the Year award, which went to Jamal Crawford. First, how do you guys feel about Jamal Crawford winning the Sixth Man of the Year award?
Yeah, I see who's second and third. I see Varejao and Ginobili behind him. I like Crawford. In the sixth man, that team was good. His role coming off the bench, he's getting stronger. He's a great scorer. I got no problem with it. I don't see Varejao just doesn't score enough for me to give him the sixth man. Ginobili, obviously, but for me to give Ginobili the sixth, I always still have Ginobili in my head as a starter type. Even though obviously he's coming off the bench, but there's some games in the playoffs now where Parker is the guy coming off the bench. So I think Crawford is more of a true 6 coming off the bench.
Well, I think they like Parker coming off the bench now because of that rookie they got, George Hill.
Right.
But as far as Jamal Crawford goes, I think he was a huge part in the Hawks' success this season. Unfortunately, it's not showing in the playoffs. As you can see, the Magic have a 3-0 lead on them. But Joe Johnson's not been playing that well. Crawford's been actually playing pretty well for them in the playoffs. It's just he's not their starter. He's their 6th man.
Well,
and you need your starters to produce for them to get a win, and they're not getting the job done.
Crawford, to me, not only does he deserve this award, he also probably statistically had one of his best years of his career. Now, granted, yes, 1 year, a couple of years ago, he averaged 20 points a game. He averaged 18 points a game. But one thing that I look about Jamal Crawford is that his shooting percentage. He shot 45% this year from the field, averaging 18 points coming off the bench. But he finally contributed to a team and help this team get to the playoffs. This is the first time he's ever been into the playoffs. They're in the second round. He helped contribute to that. He helped make that Hawk team better. And for the guys who were up for the for the 6th Man of the Year award, he definitely deserves it by a landslide.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
landslide.
The Hawks GM thought so also, and actually Rick Sun, the Hawks general manager, thought that Jamal Crawford would be a great addition to their team, and this is what he had to say about Jamal Crawford joining the Atlanta Hawks.